Donald Trump with another one of these please clap moments, a visibly swollen and orange Trump declaring himself the best president ever. You know, they come up to me, they say, "You're the best president ever." They really do. They said it to me. Sir, you're just so much better than Sleepy Joe. This took place in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. And as usual, we ask ourselves, did these stories ever really happen? And the answer must be no, right?
One time, and when they endorsed me, they said he's the greatest president on the border, but he's the greatest president overall that we've ever had. I said,
Ever.
Mike, I said, does that include? I said, they said he's the greatest president we've ever had, and then one of them said, "Sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime." I said, "I like
Sir,
the first one more that we've ever had." I said, "So, greatest president that we've ever had." I said, "Does that include Abe Lincoln?" "Yes, sir." "Does that include George Washington?" "Yes, sir." I said, "That's good, right?" But they also said, I mean, more importantly for purposes of this, they said the best border president, and without question, that I was that. I mean, I was that.
I was the best, folks. Please clap. Can you think of a more self-serving? Imagine Obama doing this. Imagine Obama showing up and going, you know, people come up to me and they say, "Sir, you've been the best president. You've been the best on healthcare, but you've been the best president overall. You're better than Abe Lincoln. You're better than George Washington." People come up to me and they say, this is the most egomaniacal, self-centered, delusional sort of rant that you could expect. And just think for a second what would happen even in this race if Kamala Harris started saying, you know, behind the scenes, White House staffers come up to me, they say, "Ma'am, you're the best vice president we've ever had. We've had many vice presidents, but you really are the best." And using it to generate applause from an audience, it's absurd. And we're just kind of used to it when Trump does it. We kind of just look the other way. Now, the topic of Puerto Rico came up during this event in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. And a Puerto Rican panelist during this roundtable said, "Puerto Rico is behind you." And Trump continuing the delusions by saying, "I've been the best of all for Puerto Rico."
So Maribel, you have had a lot of experience working with Medicare, both as a provider and now as a customer. Would you mind speaking to your experience working with the 1-800 Medicare hotline?
Mr. President, I just wanted to tell you that I moved here in 1981 from Puerto Rico, and I want you to know that Puerto Rico stands behind you, and Puerto Rico loves you.
Damage control.
Well, we love it. I know it very well, and we helped you through a lot of bad storms, I'll tell you. We had some really bad ones. You remember you were there when I brought the hospital ship against everyone's advice, and we got it in there and took care of a lot of people. But I think no president's done more for Puerto Rico than I have. So thank you. That's really nice.
No one ever has done more for Puerto Rico than Trump has. I mean, okay, he considered trading Puerto Rico for Greenland, sure. He showed up and shot paper towels like basketball free throws while laughing during disaster response that could have been much faster and much more comprehensive. But sure, he's been the best on Puerto Rico. He's been the best on the border. He's the best president. He knows more than generals, scientists, doctors, engineers, pilots. Starting to see a theme here. Trump continuing with the "America is like a garbage can" claim.
Brought to the United States of America and dumped like we're a
Massive dumps.
garbage can, like we're a garbage can.
Now remember, Trump is talking about people. He's not talking about foreign countries dumping trash in the United States, rubbish. He's talking about garbage people. They're sending us their garbage people, is what Donald Trump is saying. Quite a contrast from Kamala Harris's speech on the Ellipse yesterday, where she said to a record crowd, "I'll be everybody's president, even if you vote for Donald Trump." Trump again pulling the idea that there is an obsession among the left, I guess, with just forcing what he calls transgender operations on people.
Borders. Who would want men playing in women's sports? They want it. Who would want transgender operations for almost everybody in the world. They want them. This is a sick group of people, I'm telling you, and there's a great evilness. You know, we want to come together as a country, but there's a lot of evil there. There's a lot.
And of course, no one is trying to force any gender reassignment or gender affirming care or sex change. You know, they have all these terms for what is ultimately the same thing. Nobody's trying to force that upon anybody. And of course, the idea that that's taking place is part of the inherent transphobia of what has become the Republican Party today. So a ridiculous roundtable event, and maybe one of the most interesting moments actually came in the immediate aftermath. Let me talk about that. If you stay on top of the news, you follow politics and elections, why not win cash for it? Manifold is the app and website where you can win cash for predicting what will happen next in politics, and it is free to play. Questions like, will Trump win the presidential election? Will Kamala Harris flip a state? Will political commentator Destiny appear on Joe Rogan's podcast? If you predict correctly, you win play money called Mana or Sweep Cash. One Sweep Cash is redeemable for a US dollar. So if you predict right, you can turn it into cash. And the platform gives you free Mana and Sweep Cash to play with every single day. Go to manifold.markets/Pacman and you'll get free extra Sweep Cash just for signing up to start you on your journey. No purchase necessary to win cash or prizes. If you want to go bigger, you can use my link to get 40 extra Sweep Cash when you spend $20 on Mana. If you put that 40 Sweep Cash on Trump losing the election, at the current odds, you win 70 Sweep Cash if he loses, redeemable for $70 cash. You must be a U.S. resident, 18 or older. See terms and conditions. The link is in the description.